All right, let's jump right into it. European football is just, well, it's electric right now. This round of 16, talk about drama. We saw those powerhouse wins, some real nail biters going down to the wire, and even a couple of upsets, the ones that make you just sit back and say, wait, what just happened?
It really does feel like each match almost like put a spotlight on a different ingredient of what you need, what a team needs to have to really make it in a tournament at this level. It's not just about having those big name superstars on your team. I mean, tactics matter. You need that mental toughness. And hey, let's be honest, sometimes you just need a little bit of luck on your side too.
Okay, I'm all ears. Let's break it down. Let's start with those teams that just, you know, they completely dominated. Like Barcelona, just they steamrolled Benfica 4-1. Did their performance, did it live up to the hype for you?
Oh, Barcelona, they were in control for sure. But what really caught my eye, what was interesting was how they basically shut down Benfica's star midfielder. I mean, that guy, he is the heart and soul of their team. And Barcelona, it felt like they went in with a game plan that was just laser focused on keeping him quiet. It almost reminded me of how they neutralized, well, I don't want to name names, but remember back in the 2011 Champions League final, how they just completely shut down that one player? It felt a lot like that.
So it was less about Barcelona just playing their typical, that possession heavy style that they're known for, and more about like strategically picking apart a weakness in Benfica's setup.
You got it. They spotted that vulnerability, that chink in the armor, and they exploited it beautifully.
And then you had Aston Villa, just a huge win, just an absolute demolition of Club Brugge, 9-3, 9 goals over 2 legs. It's mind blowing. What do you think was behind that offensive explosion?
Yeah. Oh, it was relentless, wave after waves of attack. But honestly, I think what really impressed me was how Villa targeted Bruges' left flank. You could see it. They overloaded that side of the pitch. The wingers and fullbacks, they were constantly overlapping, just creating chaos. And Bruges, well, they just couldn't cope with it.
So it wasn't just about like brute force just overwhelming them. It was a very calculated tactical approach that set up all those goal scoring chances.
Exactly. They were clinical. I mean,
Yeah.
it was like watching a finely tuned machine just picking apart its opponent piece by piece.
Okay, and let's not forget Dortmund dismantling LOSC. 6-1, another huge aggregate score. What stood out to you about their performance?
They're counterattacking. Oh, man. It was like a masterclass in speed and efficiency. But the real key, the foundation, was their discipline on defense. They just soaked up the pressure, waited for the perfect moment, then boom, they pounced. And when they struck, they were precise. It was almost surgical. It was kind of like watching one of those coiled springs suddenly release all that pent-up energy. Just wow.
So we're seeing these teams winning, but with these different styles. Dortmund, it's that tactical discipline. Barcelona, it's strategic targeting. And Aston Villa, well, it's just that calculated attacking pattern. But this round, it wasn't all blowouts. We had some matches that went right down to the wire.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can't talk about close finishes without mentioning Inter Milan versus Feyenoord. Talking about dramatic, right? 1-1 after 2 legs, straight to a penalty shootout. I mean, that's got to be one of the most nerve-wracking situations in all of sports.
Yeah, penalty shootouts, they're like a pressure cooker. What were your thoughts as that was unfolding?
You really got to give Feyenoord credit. I mean, they were the underdogs coming in, but they fought back, showed some real grit. But in the end, PSG, well, their experience in those high-stakes moments, I think it gave them a slight advantage. That extra edge. You could see it in their demeanor, how they approached each penalty. Just cool, calm, and collected.
And then, of course, you had the clash of the Titans, Atletico Madrid versus Real Madrid. Another one going to penalties after a 2-2 draw. How'd you read that match?
Oh, it was a tactical chess match.
Yeah.
I mean, you had these two powerhouse teams, both just canceling each other out. It was almost like they were anticipating each other's every move, every thrust, every parry. And then in the end, Real Madrid, well, maybe it was their experience, but they held their nerve a little bit better in the shootout. Just a tiny bit, but enough.
It's funny though, even when a match is a draw, it can tell you so much about the teams, like their strengths and weaknesses, right? And it's not always just about that final score, is it?
You hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah.
Sometimes those matches that are really closely contested, those are the ones that give you the most insight.
And speaking of close, well, not so close, Liverpool's loss to PSG, I mean, a 5-0 aggregate, that was a shocker. Nobody saw that coming. What do you think happened there?
I think PSG, they just came in with a game plan and they executed it perfectly. They knew Liverpool, right? They knew Liverpool was all about that high-pressing attacking style. So they sat back, they absorbed all that pressure, and then waited for their chance to counter. And when those opportunities came, they were just ruthless.
Yeah, it's wild how a team like Liverpool, known for their offense, can get totally shut down by a defense that's organized like that. It really shows how important it is to be able to adapt.
Absolutely. You can't be a one-trick pony. You have to be able to change your tactics on the fly depending on who you're playing and how the game's going.
So we've talked about the big wins, the close calls, and that huge upset, but there were also some matches that were pretty evenly matched, like Bayern Munich. They just barely beat Leverkusen 3-2 aggregate. Were you surprised it was that close?
No, really. Leverkusen is a solid
Yeah.
team. They gave Bayern a run for their money for sure. But what I liked about Bayern was how they controlled the tempo of the game. They set the pace even when Leverkusen was pushing hard.
Mm.
And in the end, I think that's what made the difference.
So even though it was close, Bayern still had that level of control, like they were the masters of the game.
Exactly. It wasn't flashy, but it was efficient. You know, that's what you see from championship teams.
And then there was Arsenal drawing 2-2 with PSV. Both teams just came out guns blazing, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. It was back and forth action right from the kickoff. Both sides just attacking, creating chances, playing some beautiful football.
Yeah.
I think a draw was a fair result, but man, it definitely left you wanting more.
It's those kinds of matches, where both teams are just leaving it all out on the pitch that really capture what's so great about this sport.
I totally agree. It reminds us that sometimes it's not just about the win or the loss. It's about the passion, the skill, and the drama of it all.
So as we wrap up this look at the round of 16, it's clear that we got everything we could have asked for and more.
Yeah, it really showcased all the different ways a team can be successful in football. It's not just about raw talent or even brilliant tactics, but about being mentally tough, being able to adapt, and just having that sheer will to win.
Yeah, it seems like every single thing we've talked about, tactics, that mental game, even just a little bit of luck, it all factors in. So as we head into the quarterfinals, what are you going to be watching for?
Well, you know, everyone loves to break down those tactical battles and try to predict, who's got the edge on paper. But honestly, I'm more interested in seeing which teams have that extra something, that intangible, something that you can't really quantify with stats.
You mean like that fire in their belly, that drive that just pushes them to succeed no matter what?
That's it. Sometimes it's not the team with the most talent or even the best game plan that wins. It's the team that just refuses to give up. The team that finds a way to dig deep and overcome any obstacle.
That reminds me of, I don't know if you remember, but that incredible comeback a few years back when, what was their name? The team that everyone had written off, but they just wouldn't quit.
Oh, yeah. That was amazing. Those are the moments, when a team just defies all the odds through sheer willpower. That's what makes this tournament so special.
So for our listeners, as they're watching the quarterfinals, what should they be paying attention to? What separates the contenders from the pretenders?
Watch for the teams that play with passion, with heart. The teams that show resilience when things get tough. Sure, tactics and individual brilliance are important, but it's that unyielding spirit, that belief that they can achieve something great that can be the difference between a good team and a champion.
It's that X factor that makes knockout football so unpredictable and so exciting. I mean, we've seen it all in this round of 16. Incredible skill, tactical masterclasses, moments of pure drama. But at the end of the day, it's the heart and determination of these teams that will decide who lifts that trophy.
It's always a pleasure breaking down these matches with you.
Likewise. And to all our listeners, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the beautiful game. Until next time, keep the passion alive.